What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Benji. We are indeed back balling. Man, shout out to Stunted Growth because a lot of these videos are pretty interesting. And I kind of like hearing about these names that were supposed to be here and didn't pan out, or et cetera, and a lot of the opinions behind it. But at the end of the day, what y'all got to do is go ahead and follow Hoops HQ in all these different forms. And we're going to go straight to the video, man. Shout out to Stunted Growth, and let's get it.
It hasn't popped for you yet. Regardless of how it goes, I got to take responsibility for everything. Whenever my time is ready, I got to be able to walk through that door.
So, of course, Dennis Smith, man. A lot of y'all know Dennis Smith was that man.
He's starting here at the guard. That's tough for a young man.
Dennis Cliff
Yeah, that was
Smith
crazy.
Jr., born November 25th.
Honestly, I think anyone who goes through New York probably is going to have stunted growth because that franchise is
1997. Today's feature is one of the most talented point guards on the amateur level I've ever seen. His high school mixtape to
Bro,
me
I seen this kid in
still the
person,
best
bro.
out
This dude
there,
is
with John Wall and
was
Keel
next
Carr
level in
close
high
second
school,
and
bro.
third. If you asked me in 2016,
like this dude was
how good
like,
a player
the thing
Dennis
is,
Smith
not
Jr.
only was he
would
so
become,
much more
I
talented than his opposition, and so much more athletic than the opposition, but he thought the game so much better than the opposition.
would have said
I
as
knew
good
this
as
kid
any
was
guard
headed to
in
the
the
league.
league currently. To me and a lot of people, that was his ceiling. Even when he got to college,
just
you saw the
injuries,
talent, and most
really
importantly,
just shooting
his game
consistency.
seemed perfect for the NBA at the time, as he had good height mixed with unseen athleticism, charisma, ball handling, and his backstory of rising through the ranks and rite of passage solidified his pedigree. All the way up to the NBA draft, I was high on Dennis Smith Jr. If you remember, this was the draft, one of the deepest of the decade.
I think Luka
that
just ruined
already
it.
includes 5 All-Stars, a handful of franchise players, and a guy in Jason Tatum that has a great chance of one day becoming a Hall of Famer.
Wow, that was a
There were
loaded
13
class.
point guards taken in total, 5 in the top 10, and to me, Dennis Smith Jr. had the most NBA potential of them all. He was taken 9th overall by the Dallas Mavericks. 6 teams that needed a point guard passed on him, including the New York Knicks, who took Frank Ntilikina when everyone thought and expected they would not only jump to take him, but that he would have been a perfect fit
Yeah, like I
for
said,
a
the Knicks
market
are just
and a team
crazy.
like New York. At the time when he still had confidence in his game and a chip on his shoulder since high school. I was upset Dallas took him. I'll explain
At the time,
why
I
in a
absolutely
second.
believe that would
What's
have been a great
crazy
pick for New
is
York.
if you redrafted this class, many would still take Dennis Smith Jr. as high as he went, maybe even higher, since most understand that where you're drafted initially can make or break your career
Absolutely.
and turn you from a guy that's a franchise cornerstone, all-star, has a max deal, and is leading his team, to a has-been who many would officially consider washed after having a 3rd straight season averaging less than 10 points a game, played for 4 different teams in 5 seasons, and once even being assigned to the G League. Looking
Yeah,
at
that's a
what
crazy
Dennis
question.
Smith Jr.'s career has become to
Why
this
hasn't
point,
popped you for
I'm
the
shocked,
NBA? That's a rough.
saddened a little, because I liked his game a lot and understand that it's not all his fault. In 21-22, he played 37 games for the Portland Trail Blazers and
it's
averaged
something
5
like-
points, 3 assists, and shot 22% from 3.
Yeah,
He
I
was
think
waived
some
on the
confidence.
21st of February 2022 and
Really?
hasn't been picked up by another team to finish out the season. He's 24 months away from being 25 and still positive an NBA team will give him a chance. But chance to do what? Not what he was expected to, as
I don't
the
know what
potential
happened
is
to him,
gone
man.
at this point, and so maybe his NBA chances. What happened? 3 reasons Dennis Smith Jr.'s growth was stunning. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute. Is a 6'2" point guard from Fayetteville, North Carolina that was a flat-out star in high school, to say the least. By his sophomore year, he was a state champion, being named MVP of the championship game, averaging 17, 9, and 6, along with 2 steals. As a junior, Smith Jr. took off. Around this time, it was hard not to be aware of who he was, as YouTube blew his name out the waters behind his jaw-dropping mixtapes, featuring his one-of-a-kind hezzy move that got better, as most times it led to a high-flying dunk at the rim.
Now that was the most unstoppable move ever, bro, in high school.
Into a shot.
Bro, in basketball,
he averaged
period.
22 points, 7 assists, and 5
And that,
rebounds that
takeoff
year.
was crazy.
And also the
that was
Gatorade Player of the Year for North Carolina, leading into what was for sure to be an All-American senior season and top ranking at his position. He tears his ACL, or at least one of them, doctors finding out he actually had 2 in his knee, and was ruled out for his entire senior year. He graduated in December that year and decided to attend his school of choice, NC State, early. Stunt number 1, being drafted by the Dallas Mavericks.
I guess.
To me, the most underrated part of the journey through the NBA is being drafted into a situation that best fits your game. As mentioned, I was super high on Smith Jr. before the draft and couldn't believe the Knicks passed on him to take Frank Ntilikina, who showed no obvious signs that he would be worth a top 10 pick. So as the next pick being the Mavericks are on the clock, I'm thinking please don't pick Dennis here. Yes, they needed a point guard, but the Mark Cuban, hands-on, European aspiring style of play they were, I just knew wouldn't work out well for Smith Jr., who needed to be somewhere like Atlanta or his hometown Charlotte or best case New York. For whatever reason, they did select him and handed him the keys to the point guard position from day one. I wasn't too hopeful, but surprisingly, he wasn't at all bad for the Mavericks. He was their second leading scorer and top 5 in rookie points per game at 15.2, 5 assists and 4 rebounds, playing 29 minutes and starting every game. But Dallas were 24 and 58 that year and able to select in the lottery that offseason, winning the 5th overall pick, which they traded along with a protected 2019 pick for the 3rd overall selection. That turned out to be Luka Doncic. And this was where the problem with him being taken by Dallas was for me. They never believed in Smith Jr., and when they took Luka, it killed his confidence. Granted, Luka became a great player and is one of the best players in the league at the moment, but no one knew that would be the case when they snatched the keys from Smith Jr.
That one they did get right, I will tell you that.
When as a rookie, Smith was on his way. He was still confident in himself and that the team believed in him as a point guard. He was traded after 32 games his second season after Luka showed his greatness and disdain for his competition being on the same team as a point guard. He was traded after 32 games his second season after Luka showed his greatness and disdain for his competition being on the same team. I think that, along with the Knicks letting him go after a great start with them as well, killed his confidence and typecasted him as a backup at best in the league, and that's the exact opportunities he began to get.
I found out after a nap that I was traded, so I feel like it's a big opportunity for me. I just got to make the most of it.
Stunt number 2, cannot stay healthy. This growth stunt could literally be the only reason on the board, as I think it's the most significant and most consistent of Dennis Smith Jr.'s basketball journey. Since before his senior year in high school having ACL surgery, Smith Jr. has had his body fail him time and time again. He's never played a full 82-game season or even close, mainly due to him not being able to stay on the floor. As he said himself, the league is very talented. If you're not available to play, it's next man up. After being traded to the Knicks, he averaged 14 points and 5 assists to finish out the 18-19 season. He began experiencing knee pain and only played in 34 games for them in 1920. He was traded after just 3 games with the Knicks the next year to Detroit, where he got injured again, tearing his meniscus, and only available for 20 games for a total of 23 on the year in 2020-21. Stunt number 3, potential officially sealed.
Bro, injuries are a big thing that will destroy your confidence because, like example, for a guy like that, bro, to be moving, jumping, cutting, bro, when your knees are not operating and you don't have confidence in your body to do the moves that you're normally doing, that in itself is already gonna tear you apart.
Hasn't sealed off and unable to be reached at
All right,
this
so look
point.
at that, bro. What happened, bro, when this guy was like hurt? What happened with a jump shot? Look at his elbows.
Sealed off and unable to be reached at this point. Not saying Smith Jr. isn't or can't be a nice player in the league, but like you said, the league is too talented to wait for a guy that hasn't popped off yet after 5 years. The fact he hasn't played the level of basketball expected to this point, what I like to call typecasted him into a role of nothing more than a backup or third string point guard. That's about all the opportunity he will likely get from here on.
Shoots on the way down.
After signing with the Trailblazers September 2021, he played 37 games and was injured again, this time his elbow that cost him 3 to 4 weeks. He was waived soon after and has been out the league for months now, with no team picking him up thus far. In my opinion, because he fell so far from the potential he had as an amateur and early on in his career. Teams just don't believe.
Tough scenario,
Sadly, after 3 years of injury after injury and poor averages, including his shooting still being way below average, it may be safe to say Dennis Smith Jr. as a player may be a bust. All in all, it hurts to say that. He's still 24, almost 25.
You say,
so
dude does have time,
but
bro.
as of now, it's looking like without a complaint.
It is rough, bro. Shout out to Hefe Allen for this video. Man.
Complete change to his game, meaning learning how to finally shoot from deep consistently, improving his decision making and defensive effort, and of course, opportunity. He may never play in the league at the level expected again for these reasons. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, Dennis Smith Jr.'s growth was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.
Dang, man. What do y'all think, bro? Dude is super, super lit. It is so crazy how there's... That just goes, like, I think that's a huge part in the politics that there is in basketball. Like, you can't control injuries. You can't control necessarily what team you go to and the situation that you're thrust into. All you can do is try and adapt to that scenario. I think it's super, super crazy, bro. You're forgiving of Dennis Smith Jr. saying he had good height or potential. Yeah, that's true. They did say he was kind of small size and with short arms and everything like that. But yeah, whatever. Let's kick shoes. Yes, I ran explosive inconsistent performances, but not meant for man inside. It was there, but shooting defense decision making was never right. Can't pull out straight. Chris was yeah, Luka was different. But I think it's also, I will say, the type of game that he plays, he is a ball dominant guard, and as a ball dominant guard, it is tough for you to try and get play in the league because there's only 30 teams and everybody wants the ball. You gotta be able to now. It's super imperative the guards shoot it and can play off the ball. It's definitely exciting. That's true. Yeah, that's true too. You gotta have that mid range and the jump shot because when, like you say, you start getting hurt, you start losing faith in your body. It's definitely where everything is about. Point with team, the team development. That's true. That's very true too. It stays in my mind that development playing. That's why I said the Knicks. It's almost always, I feel like, a draft pick for them has likelihood to fail because they have not presented themselves with an opportunity or not presented themselves with a track record of guys that get picked up that they've been taking for years. They haven't developed any superstars or, much talent. RJ Barry's been playing well for them, but, I think so. That's true. Different team. I think early on, being in a different scenario on a different team, I think would have easily got him the situation that he wanted to be at because, like I said, the Luka bomb was nothing he could do. But also true too. I think in the NBA, I think that predictability thing was imperative because, bro, in the NBA at that level, when they got guys that are smart and teams that are smart and come up with defensive routines in order to stop you, if your entire game plan is getting to the rim, eventually they're gonna try and keep the ball out of your hands and start stopping you getting to the rim. Now, a lot of guys are very good at being able to get to where they wanted to be. That's being one of them, but that's when it starts becoming about adding a lot more to the bag, because they're gonna start throwing things at you that are gonna be set in place to try and stop you. Do one down, Mitchell. What? You think? I was reading this comment about him being next John Moran. What are you talking about? I think literally John Moran and him were like the same guy. Athleticism, creativity with the basketball. I mean, John's not a great defender. Des isn't a great defender. When they have effort, they're pretty solid defender. The same size. Yeah, it does have small hands, but I don't know what that means. I think his change of space was crazy. Yeah, I don't think John's a great shooter at all. Point guard that can't shoot. Point defender below average handle, can't shoot small hands. Make wise where Luka got to shoot out versus confident. They'll shut. Yeah, sure. But yeah, jaw-like trajectory. Yeah, I think it's, It's literally all about the situation. Man, what do y'all think, bro? This was a good video. What other videos y'all want to see? Leave in the comments below. Stay tuned to the next one.